I biked to work every day for over a year, and honestly, it changed my life in ways I didn't expect. It brought me amazing experiences and a couple of terrifying experiences, and it changed the way I see rabbits forever. You see, I don't drive. Me and cars are generally no simpatico. I don't know, something about being in a metal death trap, hurtling down the road at 60 miles per hour with only a thin stripe of paint between you and a tank operated by Brockton who thinks that rules are only for peasants, it just doesn't sit well with me. And after one deeply unsettling experience on public transit, I knew I was ready for something different. You see, for years, if I wanted to go somewhere, it meant taking the Max, the bus, or the good old Shoe Leather Express. Since my work was too far, I relied on the Max most of the time. But then we moved, and suddenly public transit became harder to reach. At the same time, the Max grew less reliable, the atmosphere on board less comfortable with an increasing amount of drug use on the trains, and more, I started feeling downright unsafe. The breaking point came when a man threatened to physically assault me. That was it. I was done. I needed another way to get to work, so I started looking into biking. Now, I'm not a stranger to biking to work. When I worked as a lifeguard and as an instructional assistant, I biked to work. But back then, I was biking a maximum of 2 miles to work. Now, my job was 9 miles away, and if I didn't want to arrive at my customer-facing office job drenched in sweat, I would need to think outside the box of my traditional bike. Cue the e-bike. My first bike was a cheap Amazon e-bike, but it did the job, and was a great way to get a feel for whether or not I liked e-bikes before committing to something more expensive. In January of 2024, I started biking to work, and honestly, I never looked back. Biking to work brought with it many delights. Getting outside and moving first thing in the morning was a great way to wake up my body and mind before work. It was also a great way to connect with nature. My favorite part of the bike ride was this marsh where a bunch of songbirds would nest. In the morning, the mist would rise up off of this marsh in golden sunlight, and the birds were singing, and there was a baked goods factory right next to it as well, so the whole place would smell like chocolate chip cookies. It was a delight for the eyes, the ears, and the nose. Biking was a mood booster, and you kinda can't help but feel good after a 45-minute bike ride. Also, I was so relieved to no longer be reliant on the public transit system's iffy bus schedule. Now my commute was flexible and fun, and I was treated to some stunning sunrises. Also, the extra sunshine was really nice because I worked inside, and in the winter I would pretty much not see the sun at all, which was not great. Finally, the other people on the bike path were very lovely, and I felt safe. If you're liking this video so far, I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. As a new channel, it helps me out so much, and it's the most amazing way you can support me. Thank you. I also got to experience some really fun creatures on my bike ride to work. I saw everything from everyday wildlife to a creature I definitely did not expect to be standing on the side of the bike path. I saw squirrels, chipmunks, geese, red-winged blackbirds, hawks, rabbits, snakes. Should probably get out of the road. Here you go. Lizards, deer, coyotes, beavers, and I even saw a fox one time. I also got to see a few other animals that us city dwellers don't normally get to see in their everyday life. I saw horses, sheep, and one very judgmental peacock, which was a big surprise. Hi, pretty! Biking to and from work quickly became a time to wake up both my body and my mind and be ready for the day, and it was a great way to unwind as I headed back home. And honestly, it ended up saving me money. By the end of that first school year, the bike had paid for itself because I was no longer paying public transit passes. Of course, not everything was misty sunrise to the song of red-winged blackbirds. Some days were rough, and one of them nearly ended in disaster. The rabbits wanted me dead. They really tried to make this happen. They would wait on the side of the path, and then right as you get close, they dart across the road in front of you. I don't want to run a cute bunny rabbit over, but neither do I want to have to slam my brakes or swerve in such a way that I lose control and crash. Luckily, so far I have not yet hit a rabbit, but if I'm ever found in a ditch on the side of the path, look to the rabbits first. They look cute, but they are dead-eyed killers. Also, winter got very cold. It's hard to dress warm enough for the weather when you're biking at 20 miles per hour. Mostly it's the hands. I have tried all sorts of gloves, but my fingers still freeze. When you're biking out in the weather, it's important to know what the weather's going to do. And if the weather forecast done screwed up, I would arrive at work soaked. One time I had dressed especially nicely for a board meeting, and Google said it would be dry, so I left my rain gear at home. By the time I got to work, I was so drenched I needed to completely change my outfit. Spring allergies are the worst when you're using your eyeballs as pollen catchers for 9 miles. I have found that sunglasses helps with this a lot. Now I tend to wear them rain or shine when I'm biking. And flat tires are just the worst. I had 1 month where I had a flat pretty much every week. I got a flat because of a wood chip. It was ridiculous. And then there was the crash. Honestly, I'm lucky to be here talking about it.
I fell on my bike. It's icy outside, but it didn't look icy. So I'm coming down the hill and I try to brake. No brakes for me. So I ate it at like 20 miles an hour.
I just remember falling and sliding and rolling and sliding some more. I was completely at the mercy of inertia. All I could do was hold on and try not to let my head hit anything. As soon as I came to a stop, I was clutching my knee.
My knee's pretty busted up. I almost passed out on the side of the road because of my knee. That's why I'm lying down too, because I'm a wimp. I feel like I'm gonna faint if I stand up. I'm gonna go to urgent care, see what they say. There's a big hole in my knee. It's like someone scooped out the skin. Sorry, that's gross. It is gross. It hurts. And every time I look at it, I want to either puke or pass out. And my bike's busted. The brakes are cracked. Like the brake handles. Ow, my hand. And I put a hole in my very favorite pair of jeans. That's also a bummer. Just broke a lot of things today. Feeling kind of sorry for myself. Just lying here on the stairs. It's like not that bad, but it's not that great.
In the end, I limped away from the experience with only 4 stitches and a slightly dislocated shoulder. It could have been so much worse. My bike, however, was beyond my ability to fix, and I would need to have something more powerful to help me up the hill while I was recovering. So I got the one I have now, and it's been very good to me. Switching to biking to work honestly changed my life. It's given me so much more freedom. I don't have to worry about the bus system and their schedules. I can work on my schedule. I can go where I need to, when I need to, and it makes me feel much more willing and able to go out and meet up with people and do things and go places. I feel set free from the rigid schedule and questionable reliability of the public transit system. By having more sunlight on my skin and in my eyes, it's really a mental health and mood boost, which is so useful in the winter. The exercise is also good for the body and for the mind. And finally, instead of being on public transit and scrolling on my phone, I get to enjoy the world around me. I get to live in the present moment and take in my surroundings and the air and the sunlight and the trees and the animals, and it's just peaceful.
There's something about being connected to nature and out in every season that just grounds you. I remember one time I was biking home from work and it started to hail in enormous quantities. They weren't very big, but they just kept coming. Honestly, it kind of hurt on my skin. It would sting as I got pelted. I just kind of had to laugh at the experience. I remember that the hail started to collect in the grooves of my helmet and melt against my scalp, giving me like brain freeze without having eaten ice cream. It was so uncomfortable, and yet I was delighted. What an experience. What a sight. What excitement. The whole path ended up getting covered in hail until it looked like it had just snowed.
Even when the weather is unpleasant, there's still something delightful about riding your bike. No weather is bad weather. It's all just weather. The rain brings the water that allows life to flourish. The sun brings warmth and energy. They are both gifts to be enjoyed. Switching to biking was one of the best decisions I've made, both practically and in terms of the joy it's brought me. There are honestly many ways to get the benefits that I've mentioned, because really it's all about getting outside and connecting to nature for a while. The most convenient way for me to do that was to bike to work, but you could also go for hikes, or walks, or hang out at a park. I would often use my lunch break to go on a walk through the park and then eat at my desk while I worked. Find something you enjoy and that you can manage, and give it a try. And try it in all kinds of weather. Obviously, stay safe, but if it's raining or snowing or a bit windy or hot, there is something beautiful to be discovered. Thank you for joining me on this ride. Jesus loves you, and I do too.